All right, we live?
We live.
I think we're live. What's going on, man?
Oh, just out here on another Sunday, enjoying a cigar, getting ready to drop some knowledge on some of our fans about one of your favorite drinks.
Yeah, I have moved to the comfortable couch, and it feels a lot better. But yeah, so today, all you foodies, all you alcohol lovers, all you dessert people for the BDSM podcast, we are going to talk about tequila. Just a little bit of some stuff. We last week we talked about whiskey and the Japanese whiskey. So I figured this week we can go on to some stuff that I know more about and really thoroughly enjoy, because it's one of my top two boozes. First one's rum, and we'll get to that one of these days, but tequila is my second one. So I am Professor Porkloin, and I'm here with my bearded co-host,
the Meat Viking.
So hopefully we've got a pretty good show going for you today. But the first thing we got to do is we got to come up with our safe word for the day. So any idea of what a safe word would be for today?
Sammy Hagar.
That doesn't relate to, well, he kind of does, I guess, but
yeah, he's got a famous tequila.
He does. All right, I guess we can go Hagar then. That works. And then I guess the second thing I got to ask you, man, is what's in the cup for the day?
I have combined Screwball peanut butter whiskey, Kahlua, and then 360 double chocolate vodka to make a Black Russian with some ice.
Man, I don't know if that's technically a Black Russian because you're adding that Screwball whiskey into it, but we'll go with it, man.
I mean,
you're all about that Screwball whiskey.
You got to try it, man. If you want something that you could just like have for a nightcap that's got a lot of flavor to it and you can drink straight, I would recommend picking up Screwball, especially at the price point it is. It's probably around or under $20 for a bottle.
That's not bad.
No.
Well, that's pretty good. Well, even though we're talking about tequila today, I dropped the ball on that one and didn't go buy a bottle just to showcase it. So I'm sticking with my good old trusty rum and Coke, man. So I got it in the cup, and I can't go wrong with it. So one of the other episodes we'll talk about, obviously, it'll have to be rum, because then I can go even more in depth about all the other stuff that I have in my room.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a rum room or something?
Yeah, it's just where my liquor cabinet is. It's basically filled with a couple bottles of rum and then some of the other stuff. But I enjoy that. I love the flavor of it way better. So
rum is very, very flavorful.
Yeah. So I guess the last thing before we start into this stuff, man, is you smoking that nice fat cigar. So
I am.
Tell our readers what we're smoking today.
Well, we're actually going to cover two cigars today, because I believe in the last episode we did, I had mentioned wanting to shout out the cigar I had, but I never did. So the one I'm smoking right now is a Hoyo Excalibur it's a Morodo style cigar. It's got a Robusto shape, Connecticut wrapper, and it comes from Honduras. It's not very sweet. It's not pressed. It's not really flavored. It's just a nice, like, mild cigar, and one of those ones that I found somewhere, and I'm like, hey, I like the name Excalibur, let me try their cigar. And even though I prefer the normal ones and not like this darker wrapper of the Maduro is still really good.
Yeah. I looked up briefly when you told me what you were smoking, what that would pair well with for tequila, because we are going to talk about it, and a Reposado would be a good one to go with. So it's a little bit of a darker, and I'll talk about the differences there, but it would pair well with that cigar you got. So
And then the cigar that I had smoked last week came from Hawaii. It was a Maui grown tobacco. And it's a vanilla macadamia nut flavored. It was a really good cigar. But I wanted to bring that up because when we were talking about that Japanese whiskey, they give a lot of the credit to its flavor as being filtered from Mount Fiji. And I wanted to pair something that's been filtered through the volcanic rock with something grown on a volcanic island.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So we got those three things out of the way. So I guess we can start the whole thing about tequila.
Tequila. Now, are you
I,
like most people I know, where as soon as the tequila shots start coming out, everybody just kind of shivers inside?
no, I will just take that straight, man. I don't even do the lime or the salt or anything. I'll just take it. I like the flavor of it,
Yeah.
where people are like, oh, I gotta lick the salt and do the lime, and I gotta sacrifice a bloody virgin to like
Mm-hmm.
drink this stuff. And I think that's a big problem with a lot of alcohols, is that people wind up getting the shittiest alcohol, and they have a real bad experience with it, and tequila is definitely one of those things. Whenever you talk to someone about tequila, they always do exactly what you said and be like, oh man, I can't drink tequila because that one time when I was 18, I drank a whatever Cuervo or Hornitos or whatever crappy tequila that they've got, and they just won't touch it again, or they've got to wash it down with a bunch of margarita mix before they can do anything.
Yep.
Although some of the other people say, well, I can't do it anymore because it makes my clothes fall off. And, I try to dance when I know that I can't.
Yep.
So hopefully with today, we'll kind of talk about the big differences between those lower level tequilas and even those higher end ones. We were kind of talking about that with some of the bourbon, and then some of the Japanese whiskey on the last episode. So it really is one of those shrouded in mysteries type deal. But it's really for a good reason though, because I like the flavor. It's got that nice spicy, it's got the, depending on which one, smooth. I mean, you can instantly recognize when you put that up to your lips that that's going to be tequila.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. Everything has their own distinct flavor and taste. Well, tequila has their own flavor and taste, and everybody knows it. So the one thing that I want to just say right now, I want you to think of tequila kind of like people think with whiskey and bourbon, right? Because you might hear tequila, you might hear mezcal. So technically, all tequilas are a type of mezcal, but
Okay.
not all mezcal is a tequila. So same thing with whiskey, all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon, because you might have scotch, you might have that Japanese whiskey, you might have a rye,
Right.
you might have something else that puts together. So the big difference there is that tequila must be made in the tequila region of Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
whereas mezcal can be produced basically anywhere in Mexico, although it's usually produced in one of the regions. So when we looked at the whiskey last episode, and even other things, when we talked about distilling, you usually have your grain profile, right?
Yeah.
But with tequila, you get a plant, you get the agave plant. So this is also another distinction of what the difference between tequila and mezcal is. So tequila, it's got to be made by a certain type of that agave, and it's the Blue Weber. So, and that's really produced in a couple states in Mexico. So, and what they do is they take the heart of that plant, and they wind up putting it in a above ground oven, and then they collect all the liquid in the copper pots, and then they wind up steaming that. So again, we've talked about distillation before. So essentially you're getting that from above the ground, where mezcal is a little different. So a lot of the times mezcal is cooked in underground pits, and they usually have it with rocks, and they burn it for a lot longer, so it gets that smoky flavor, and it usually caramelizes the plant. So it gives that mezcal more of that flavorful, savory, like smoky taste. So there's a big difference between the two. And I think some people kind of get confused at which one. Oh man, is this mezcal, or what's the difference between tequila and mezcal? So that's really the nutshell of what the difference between the two of those things are. So think about location, and then think about how it's prepared.
Okay. Hmm. Now, question: the
Yes.
the plant, the agave plant, is that a plant that you could essentially buy and grow your own to make your own tequila with?
Yeah, you can do it if you want. You probably need a bunch of it though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many plants needed in order to make one bottle, but I'm pretty sure you need enough. So, in the process, I'm sure the internet could probably tell you on how to, cut the heart out and steam it and get all that stuff.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
but the other thing that you might see on bottles is looking at uh, reposado or añejo versions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the bottle, you might see a couple of those. You might see some that are clearer. You might see ones that are darker. And that's kind of like it really is with bourbon. They kind of have their set rules of what they need to do. So with tequila, it's kind of the same way. You know, um, they wind up putting it basically in barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have your blanco, your blanco is basically put in a neutral barrel or a stainless steel barrel for, I think it's up to at minimum of 2 months, but I think up to a year. It's got to stay in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now with your other ones, those are depending on how long it is in a charred barrel. So that's kind of where you get your flavors. So things like Cuervo, where it's darker. Things like your Patron Añejo or 1800 Añejo or Reposado. Those are darker ones. It's because they've been in barrels for up to, I think, a year, maybe a year and a half. And it's basically that they take it out after that. They don't let it sit for 40 years like you have with some bourbons or scotches.
Now, going back a couple of episodes, we talked about how a lot of craft breweries are starting to take bourbon and whiskey barrels to make their beer in.
Yep.
Do you think there's such thing as taking a whiskey barrel and making tequila in it?
Ooh, I don't. I think depending on what the barrel is,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would think the oak would probably be okay, charred, but I'm not 100% sure if that would be interesting. I think maybe a brewer would probably do something like that, like a mezcal infused, stout,
Mm-hmm.
or I'd even say like a pilsner, something light, so that you can kind of get that taste too. Because essentially, when you throw that into the barrel, I mean, whatever alcohol gets absorbed into the wood, winds up getting back into whatever you take once when you drain it all.
Right.
Because I've talked to a couple distillers before, and I had this one guy. He was a bourbon guy, and he just, whatever he had left over from all of his bottles, he just put it into one bottle. So he took all his barrels, emptied them into whatever how many bottles he got, and then if there's anything left over, he made a special run, and then that's the 15, maybe 100 bottles that he got off of it.
Oh, wow.
And man, was it rough.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
you can't proof it until you get it at the end, because you're mixing a whole bunch of them together. So I think the one that I did was like 98 proof, and it burned. It was a little
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. That made my stomach burn just hearing that number.
So um, I think one of the biggest name brands is Cuervo. I've mentioned it a couple times already, but it's because they were one of the first people to actually distill it. So, little history lesson from what I've been doing with my research is that the Aztecs basically started out with fermenting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they had access to the agave plant. They didn't distill it yet, but essentially what they did is they fermented the agave plant, and it was a drink known as pulque.
Okay.
So it was a way for them to, hey, this is booze, right? It's a way for them to start worshiping goddess and everything about that one. So they actually had a god. It was the god of pulque. So here's your god of drink right now. Go ahead and get wasted.
I'm gonna
And
interrupt you here real quick with the Hagar.
okay.
You keep saying pulque, and
Yeah.
in my head, I'm thinking, who the hell drinks tequila and dances to polka music like polka? And I'm like, that's not what he's saying, but that's what I'm picturing right now.
I don't know. Maybe you drink enough tequila, you'll start dancing to polka.
Yeah, like anybody out there who does that, just let us know. Like, we would like to hang out with you.
No,
But
pulque. It's Pulque. Pulque.
okay,
And I might even be white enough to say it wrong too, but I'm assuming my Spanish that it's pulque. It might even be pulque
yeah.
with a little u. Uh, so essentially, they were drinking that for a really long time. But try to guess who wound up taking that and kind of rising it up to what we now basically know. Take a wild guess. Who do you think
Well,
wound up taking over the Aztecs?
pretty sure this has to do with the Spanish.
Yeah, the Aztecs get a nice little surprise from the Spaniards, man.
Yeah.
So they essentially came over, and they obviously had brandy and things like that by that time. So they wound up taking this concoction, and they distilled it. So you kind of had your first form of what tequila was. And now this is kind of taking it in. So in the mid 1700s, the Cuervo family, this is where you get Cuervo from. They were the first people to basically commercially distill that agave plant and then get the tequila. So the Souza family was later on. They were in the mid 1800s, so they kind of caught up. And I'm sure there was probably a couple other producers in between that. But when you go into the liquor store, you obviously see those two names, right? You see the Cuervo family and you see the Souza family. Those are two mid-priced tequilas that I think, again, a lot of people get messed up on and then go, "Oh, I can't ever drink that again."
Yep.
But there's plenty of tequilas out there that are smooth, that do not have that burning feeling that you get when you drink some of those other tequilas.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Foodies are a couple of things you can't go cheap on: paper towels and tequila. Don't do that. If you can spend a little bit of money, get the better paper towels, get the better tequila. You will thank yourself later.
Yeah. Definitely get your better tequila. And you know what? You can find good ones that are within that $30 range, to be honest with you. It's not like you got to spend your whole paycheck on a tequila bottle. Obviously, if you want to go a little bit higher, you can certainly find better quality ones, but just don't go down and buy your $15 bottle of tequila because you're not going to have a good time.
No.
The only time that I recommend doing that is if you're having a party, and then you're going to mix it with margarita mix or something like that. It's cheap at that point. No one's going to go balls to the wall. But if you're just hanging out by yourself, don't do the $15 bottle.
No. And especially if you're like, I mean, even if you are going to mix it, if you're not sure with tequila yet, don't go cheap and mix it. Spend a little bit of money. Go for that $20-$30 price range. If you see tequila on the shelf for like $11, like I've seen before, there is a reason that tequila is $11. You will need $22 of other shit to make it taste decent.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah.
But again, if you're going to do a party or you're going to do something like that, I would at least bring for the $20 bottle, something like that, just because you don't want to kill people.
Right. Like if you're doing $11 tequila, do it in a Long Island iced tea. Like you're gonna have everything else in there to make it better. But
this is true. And so I mean, I definitely think that tequila is one of the unofficial beverages of basically bad decisions and horrible hangovers.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
But I also feel like it's another luxury item though, because you get some of those fancier, more higher end. I mean, you can have a pretty good tasting. You can have a nice night and enjoy what you have. And again, you can pair it with a lot of things. I mean, you can pair it with a cigar. Geez, I feel like you can pair it with tacos. You can pair it with food, have a steak. So it really is, it shouldn't be cloaked in any type of mythology, or it shouldn't be any mystery to anybody, but tequila really is a good thing. So,
well, speaking of mysteries in tequila, the whole tequila worm in the bottle thing, is this fact, fiction, mystery?
it is. I mean, I have bought a couple bottles of mezcal that have that. So yeah, there are bottles out there. I mean, it's probably not your best one, and a lot of people, it's more of a prank, to be honest with you. I remember I was in college and my buddy, he bought a bottle of that. He went somewhere, got it, and the rule is whoever gets that last shot, because or typically it'd be the last shot, but sometimes the worm floats up. But whoever gets the worm in the shot glass has got to do it. So it's basically a larva. It's not really a worm, but
right.
you can still drink it.
Yeah. We humans are pretty resilient creatures for the most part.
I'm pretty sure our stomach acid would wind up
right
getting rid of that,
Yeah, no. Like, kids eat glue. So like if you can survive glue, you can survive a little extra protein. But is there like any certain reason why some bottles do the worm, or is it like
so I had to look this up,
plant?
I guess, a little bit, and it's actually in a bottle of mezcal. So remember, mezcal can be made from just about anything, and it wasn't really a traditional aspect of the production. And I guess there's some misinformation that happened once when that kind of came in, but I guess the moth, it's a moth larvae, and it feeds off this one plant, and I guess you turn it into a butterfly, the mariposa, if it goes all the way through. But let's see, I think it was more of a marketing ploy. That's some of the people are saying, is to get people to drink the mezcal back in the 40s and 50s. And there's another possibility of more of a marketing angle, because I guess tequila was starting to flood more of the US market, and mezcal needed a way to sell to people and kind of be different. So they wound up coming up with a bunch of ideas, and hey, let's throw the worm in. Because I don't think any mezcals that I've had in Mexico have the worm, and I really think it's just because of marketing for us gringos.
So what you're telling me is that essentially they were like, you can use the pickup line, hey, did you get the tequila worm, or you got butterflies in your stomach?
Yeah, you could do that. Have you ever had one with the worm, or no? Or did you not really get into mezcal?
I am not a big tequila drinker for various reasons. One of which being, you know how you typically do your tequila shot with you lick the salt, do the shot, you bite the lime.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, the people who I used to drink with were like, no, Meat Viking, what you need to do is snort the salt, drink the shot, squirt the lime in your eye. I hung out with a bunch of
dummies.
Yeah.
Sounds like you hung out with a bunch of a-holes, man.
I most definitely did. And so tequila is one of those things that have kind of always been ruined for me. And just I remember many, many moons ago when you and I were doing a workout program called Insanity.
Yeah, that was many moons ago.
Many moons ago, many moons and many pounds ago. The the only drink that you and I would drink besides water was once a week we would allow ourselves 2 tequilas and cranberry juice because it was the most carb efficient drink we could do.
Yeah.
And although I like doing Insanity, I fucking hated drinking tequila and cranberry juice.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I can definitely say that that was probably not a smart idea.
Doing Insanity or tequila and cranberry juice?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. That was also back when I would work a 12-hour shift. I would come home, work out with you, eat, and then 2 or 3 hours later be at the gym from like 12 p.m. to 3 a.m. So, yeah, that was different times.
Yeah. Well, do you have any tequila brands that you have had before?
I've had Jose.
Okay, so Cuervo, it's definitely one of the lower tequilas. You know, I mean, those are the ones, again, perfect for margarita type deal.
I have had a tequila that I have already mentioned the price of in this podcast, but due to saving face on this company, I will not mention their name. That was around $11 tequila. If you find it, you know, just don't do it. Don't save yourself, little Johnny. But honestly, one of the best straight tequilas I've had, in my personal opinion, as somebody who's not a big tequila drinker, is Cabo Wabo.
Cabo, okay, I've had Cabo before. I can see that.
Yeah.
Which,
No,
do you know which one that you had?
no, this was a long time ago.
Okay. You know, everybody always says that Patron is the best, and to be honest with you, and this is my personal opinion, I don't think Patron is the big hype that everybody says that it is.
I think Patron only got popular because of all the rap songs with Patron in it and R&B songs. Because I agree with you, I do not think Patron is that good.
Yeah, I don't think it's my favorite, you know, and it just is not the best.
No.
I feel like there's more that are better, and to be honest with you, you know, I think the last time I bought Patron, it was probably around 40 something bucks a bottle. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably around the same still.
Most likely. Let me see if I can Google. 1800
Yeah,
Patron.
No, 1800 is a different one. Just do Patron.
Seeing Patron Silver.
Yeah, what's Patron Silver?
I'm gonna see. Well, shit. Wait.
I'm guessing it's probably around that 40 bucks.
Thing is their website. I'm gonna see if it can take me to a retailer because it's wanting me to buy online and input a bunch of information.
Yeah, like I said, if I had to take a guess, it's probably like $43, something like that. But one of my favorite ones, and I was in Mexico for this, and I went to a resort, and it was an all-inclusive resort, so whatever you wanted to drink. I was turned on to, I think it's got to be one of my favorite ones to sip and not shoot. And it was awesome because I tipped the bartender like 20 bucks the first day I was there. And every time that I came into the bar for the rest of the week, that dude had a drink ready for me. And he would always try these different ones. He'd be like, "Oh, senor, come here." And I'd be like, "Okay, what you got for me, man?" But Don Julio is got to be one of my favorite ones. And I like the Blanco. So remember, Blanco is not going to be aged in anything. So it's not going to get that color.
Right.
And it's just so smooth, you know, but it's got that nice flavor it's got a nice taste that I just feel it's one of the better tequilas that I've had. So that will run you around $60, maybe 65 now. I haven't bought a bottle in a while. Like I said, I've been drinking way more rum than anything else, but I think Don Julio is probably one of my all-time favorite tequilas, and it's one that you just sip. You don't have to mix it with anything. You can put it on the rocks if you'd like. Sometimes I do that with my tequilas if it's really hot. Just keep it a little cold, and just sip it. So smooth, mellow flavor.
So doing some research for your Patron Silver, you're looking at anywhere between 40 to 50 bucks.
Yeah, I figured, depending on where you're buying it. Yeah.
Right.
I figured 43-ish is probably the average.
Yeah. Now, it says here at a place, the little known place called Martwall, that goes for $26.99, and a little known place that's, in the shape of a bullseye going for $39.99. So I don't know which one's got the better tequila silver, but one of these things is not like the other.
Apparently.
So wonder if maybe it's like a less proof, because I really couldn't pull up that much information on it just based off of prices. But
I don't know if they do less proof tequila or not.
I don't know. I always heard like a watered down version was available at certain stores and they would give you like a cheaper price, but I don't know how much of that's true, how much of that is fairy tale.
Well, I guess it really depends on where you're buying, because if you go into Missouri, you can essentially buy 80 proof booze at the gas station.
Okay.
You can legit say, I want this, I want Patron at the gas station. So Missourians are wild. I want to mention a couple other ones that are mid-priced. Herradura is actually pretty good too. Now, I've had their silver before. Their silver is a decent tequila, one of those ones that you can sip if you want, but you can also mix it too. So my recommendation, if you don't want to spend too much money on the Don Julio, you can go for the Herradura. It's around that $40 mark. And then one of my other ones too is Espolonol. And I'm butchering the hell out of that one, but it's got a skull on the bottle, and it's about $35, and that's probably one of my other favorites. I've had the Blanco, and I've also had the Añejo.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, when you say it's got a skull on the bottle, that's not the tequila that the bottle itself is shaped like a skull, is it?
No. This one, it's just got a skull and a skeleton on the bottle. Like you can definitely tell what this one is.
Okay.
So, about $32. So mid-price, super smooth, nothing that's gonna tear up your stomach. And then I've had a couple other ones, but one that I don't really particularly like when I was bartending, it's called Cazadores, and it comes with a deer antler on the top of the bottle.
Oh.
So, and it's got a deer on it too, but man, I didn't really like that one. That was really the lower level to me. But hell, if you like it, by all means go for it. But probably wasn't my favorite tequilas on that one.
Just didn't like vibe with the taste, or
yeah, just didn't go with the taste. So so now that I kind of got that out of the way, I feel like we need to talk about some of the drinks that could be made. Do you happen to have any drinks that you have gone down with tequila?
So while most recipes will call for rum on this, you can make a mean mojito with tequila. Just replace the rum part with tequila.
I don't think I have ever done that. I don't know if does the mint really taste good with that?
I mean, one thing I like doing is when you're muddling your mint with your simple syrup, throw in some blackberries in there and just muddle all
Okay.
of that together to give it like just a mojito with a bit of a twist on it.
Yeah.
And then another thing I didn't care for it myself, but it was very popular. The wife had some of her friends over, and I was on bartending duty. And what I did is I took these glasses and I coated the bottom of the glasses with Nerds candy, right?
Oh yeah. All right.
And then I took tequila, I took Sprite, and then I took Swedish fish, and I made it look like little fish bowls, but they were like, small sized, and that went over real popular. So,
All right. And some people are getting drunk off of some nerds and some fish.
hey, sometimes a good drink goes with a good presentation.
Oh, it's all about presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being a bartender, I mean, it's people, they look with their eyes,
Mhm.
oh my God, look at that.
Right.
So I could
Whereas,
totally
like,
see that.
I'm a simple man. Like, I like me a good Gold Rush, a good whiskey sour, a good old ginger and Jameson. Those aren't really like spectacular to look at. They're super simple to make and they go down very nice.
Go down super easy.
Now,
I could
there
make a
there is
joke
a
on that, right?
right. Most things with tequila in it do, but I believe the one that you want to talk about is a little known one called the Tequila Sunrise.
Oh yeah. I mean, tequila sunrise is super easy, tequila, throw in some OJ, throw a little bit of some um, cherry juice, and you got yourself a tequila sunrise because the cherry juice will float to the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can stir it up, and it looks kind of pinkish. Very easy to make. And then there's also one with hot sauce. I think it's
Okay.
a tequila Maria, and essentially you do the same thing with OJ, but then you throw a little bit of some hot sauce in the bottom. I was never a big fan of that one, but uh, I think your other classic cocktail that you can do with tequila, obviously, is the margarita.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I actually like making my own stuff. Like I don't usually get the pre-mix, but if you want to do a pre-mix, by all means, go for it. It's super easy. You just add the tequila, or even if you want to buy sour mix, I mean, that was super easy too, because you'll just need to add a little bit of some Cointreau or some orange flavored liqueur. But what I like doing is I actually like juicing the lemons, try to
Mm-hmm.
get that lemon juice out, and then throw in a little bit of the tequila, throw a little bit of some Cointreau or some other orange, liqueur, and giving that a quick little shake. Now, I like mine on the rocks. I don't really like mine frozen.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Like I'll drink them frozen, but if I had the option between the two, I'd take it on the rocks instead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like the frozen is too watered down unless they put a bunch of booze in it. So it just doesn't work for me at that point. But
Now, are you a salt or sugar on the rim kind of person?
I would do neither, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, even when I do shooters, I don't take the salt. It's a weird flavor for me.
That's fair.
But I guess if I'm drinking something like a strawberry margarita or something fancy and there is sugar on it, I can see the sweetness with the
Mm-hmm.
strawberry or blackberry, whatever kind of fruit. Um, then that would be fine. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. See,
So
my speculation here is if I'm doing something that's like a spicier margarita, like a lot of the ones around here, they'll do like a habanero flavoring in there
oh
too.
yeah. Oh
On
man.
those ones, I'll do salt on the rim. But if I'm doing like a sweeter margarita, I like sugar on my rim.
Okay, I can see that. I can see how that goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to make
So
a pretty drink, what you do is you take some blue and red food coloring, take your sugar, coat your rim in
The lime
like,
juice.
well, lime juice, yeah, or you could do simple syrup to get it to stick a little better, and then mix that blue and red food coloring up to make purple. Coat that, and then what you do is you take lemonade, tequila, and then add some of that blue and red um, food coloring in there. Stir it around to get that purple color, and you get something called a purple rain. And that is a nice
Okay.
drink too. It's one of those like I've been out mowing the yard all day, and I just want something like a little heavy and a little refreshing. You know, so
There's one that I had. I'm not a big fan of grapefruit, but it was actually pretty good. It's called a Paloma. I don't know if you've ever heard that one before. So it's basically tequila, grapefruit. You'll do your lime and then soda water.
okay,
So you can add simple syrup too, just to give it a little bit more sweetness. But I feel like the grapefruit is enough. It's got that tangy sweetness flavor to it.
right.
So I've even heard people, and I have never found it, but they do grapefruit soda. So
I think I've seen that in the aisles where you'll get like specialty Mexican foods. So
yeah, so instead of, if you don't have grapefruit juice, you can use the grapefruit soda because it will essentially give you both of those together. Um, but yeah, so I mean, they've got other things, tequila sours. I saw a Manhattan that I don't know how I'd want that one though. But I feel like that would have to be with an añejo or reposado, something like that.
yeah,
But
that one I'm so used to like a whiskey Manhattan or like a nice rye Manhattan that I don't know how I'd feel with
for the tequila one.
yeah. Because like
uh
I've already got to be in a specific mood for a Manhattan, and I'm already not a big tequila drinker. So if both were to ever to converge at the same time, I would probably be okay with it. But I don't think I'm gonna try that one anytime soon.
gun to your head, you got to drink it. You're like, fuck it, just kill me.
Right. Get it over with, dude. Like I like me a Bloody Maria, which essentially instead of a Bloody Mary, you replace the vodka with tequila. I enjoy that, but it's also not like my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. um when I was bartending, it was right around the time when all those mules started getting popular.
Yep.
You had the normal mule, they had the Irish mule. Well, they do a Mexican mule too, and I remember it was basically just tequila, lime juice, and ginger beer.
Yep.
So I I thought it was okay, but again, they were using shitty tequila, and I don't feel like I need to use high end tequila to make
A
a
mule.
drink like that.
I enjoy me a nice Irish mule. Like I like because I like ginger ale already, and so ginger beer was kind of like a natural additive to me. And so adding just like Jameson Irish whiskey, ginger beer, and then some lime juice, it was a no brainer. Like I like that.
Yeah, but I also, one of my other ones that I kind of go, I always talk about rum and coke. Um, Tequila and coke goes pretty well together too.
Really?
Yeah, so it gives that. I mean, the flavor from the coke kind of enhances a little bit of the tequila. So whenever I drink rum and coke, I always think it's vanilla. Like I get that huge note because I drink a lot of spiced rum anyway.
Right.
So when I do spiced rum and coke or spiced rum and ginger or something, I get those vanilla hints. When you do tequila, I mean, you get that tangy flavor, and then the coke kind of just evens it out a little bit. So next time, ask for a tequila, coke, and lime. If you're doing it on a hot day, you'd be surprised at what how that tastes.
I might have to give that a try because
Or Yeah, do that one. Or since you said you like the Marias, right?
Yes,
The
I
Bloody
do.
Marias.
Mm-hmm.
You can do tequila with that instead of vodka.
Ooh. Now that I'd be down to try. That I would be down to try.
So there's a lot of good drinks that you can make with tequila. So listeners, um, you know, I would be curious to know what kind of drinks you like with tequila.
Exactly. And like, not only that, there's something that I think needs brought up that we forgot to bring up, and that is there's a lot of foods out there that you could use tequila to kind of just enhance the flavor of, like
Yeah, you have
doing
foods.
tequila infused fajitas.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah, like that's a really good one. So
interesting. I would feel like that could be with just about other alcohols too. Just give it a shot with some carne asada or something like that.
yep.
So, well, cool. I think that kind of wraps up our episode of tequila, man. Unless you got anything else to say.
No, I think you're right.
So I will let you sign us off.
Well, foodies, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Booze, Dessert, Smoke and Meats podcast. I've been your host, the Meat Viking, along with my wonderful co-host.
This is Professor Porkloin. So signing off.
All right. Thank you, everybody.